Okay, we're walking up to the scene here. This is the Wyman Park where you have Jackson and Lee. There's a small crowd here, actually, pretty decent crowd for this time of night, but there's a big crane. You're going to see all this stuff as I get closer. The streets are blocked from all around by the Baltimore police, and there's yellow caution tape around these statues. Some of you remember Sunday night I was here. I shot some video. I told you this might be one of the last times you see the statue up on Sunday. I told you that. And here we are, and they're coming down. They're coming down. I will just bear with me a few moments. We'll get closer to the scene, and you will see exactly what's going on. There's some of the crowd, and there's the heavy construction equipment. Very large crane. It's coming down. I told you it would be coming down one way or another, really quick. I'm going that way. I'm going that way.
Okay, go that way. You gotta do your shoot, okay?
Okay, so up in the dark there, those are the statues. Not well lit, and we're so far away, so you can't get a good view of it. But we're here, and we'll remain on scene. Just looking at now, this is not going to be any kind of fast process. We're not talking about TNT here. We're talking about what will most likely be a surgical removal of sorts. Very carefully and respectfully. So this could be a while. That's all I'm saying. You're not going to see any kind of kaboom or something. There is sort of a close-up of the statues. Again, it's dark, so you'll bear with me. But yeah, they're right there. They're huge. I knew that already. I'm live streaming. So again, this is going to be a while. These are very, very heavy. Well, the base is heavy. The statues themselves are moderately heavy. But they still have to be removed. But interesting timing, of course, middle of the night. This is not coincidental, of course. None of these things are. This is very deliberate why this time was chosen. Probably mostly for security reasons. Less of a crowd, hostile or otherwise. We are going to see. They're not lit up. I think they used to be, but the lights have already been taken down. But there are some guys in hard hats walking around there. Yeah, this is in Baltimore. Basically on the campus of Baltimore. They're gone. It's that simple, they're gone. I told you all this was coming. Some people thought I was just blowing smoke or something. No, it was coming one way or another. There were numerous plans I knew of, and the mayor's office knew that they were afoot too. And if they didn't do it this way, the sappers were coming. If you don't know what a sapper is, look it up. Google is your friend. You're online. But the sappers were definitely, the plans were already afoot. Yeah, they For those of you just tuning in, I know many have just joined. This is the Jackson Lee memorial or monument here. You can Google it and see pictures of what it looks like in the daytime when you can actually see it. It's the largest. Well, there's two figures. We have Cheney, who might be physically larger, but this one, and Cheney wasn't Civil War. So yeah, the Civil War monuments here in Baltimore, this one was probably the physically largest one. And again, it's coming down. They're coming down. They're all coming down everywhere in the country. But before the year is out, and there will be very few of them standing in public places. If you want to see them, you'll have to go to the museum. I have mixed feelings on that, by the way. I was going to pen essay on that tonight before I had to rush out here and cover this. By the way, so I thank you for joining, and I see different chat bubbles popping up on the screen. Unfortunately, I don't have my glasses. I rushed out, and some of them I can read, some I can't, and it takes my eyes a second to focus on it, and if it goes away too quickly, I miss it. And yes, the mayor is here. Okay, cool. It appears to be her. I'm pretty sure it is. We'll get a close-up on her in a moment. It seems like confirm is here. I don't want to zoom in on someone saying, oh, it's the mayor, and it's not. Probably like 300 feet away from where I'm standing. Looks an awful lot like her, though, observing proceedings. Okay, this construction company is Whiting Turner. Surprise, surprise. One of the largest contractors doing business with the city. And naturally, they got this job, too. Appropriate name, right? Whiting. You gotta excuse me. My sense of humor never really goes away. Hey, thank you for tuning in, whoever that is that does Active Broadcasting. The script who your name is smaller than the words, so forgive me for not seeing that. I am dealing with a bit of a degenerative eye condition, so my vision, my eyesight rather, because my vision is in my mind, my eyesight has rapidly declined over the last year or so. So it is what it is. I'm not going to cry about it, but it presents challenges in doing these things. And that is definitely the mayor over there. Right. Who's from, guys? Right there. Standing behind those two gentlemen. It sucks. Having eye disease. Unfortunately, it's kind of hereditary with the males in my family. My dad had eye surgery a couple years ago. Got much of his vision restored. Gonna remain on scene. Stand by, stay tuned. Video might get shaky at times. I'm holding it up with one hand. Did not grab a tripod. This is one of those things. When you get the word, you get the call. You just grab what you got and run out, even if you're in a back room. This only happened once. Yep, I may be retired, but you never know. You never know. The Baltimore Spectator will show up. When, where, how. Yeah. Thanks, Rep. That's the sort of feedback I needed. No, there isn't a strong police presence, too. There is a police presence. Strong would not be the word. I mean, really. actually see more police on scene at a murder scene, which I've covered so many, than you see here. So no, by Baltimore standards, this is nothing near a strong police presence. You have the one officer here shooing away photographers getting too close. And I know this was not planned in advance, not what you're seeing here, right now. Wow. Yeah, it's several thousand viewers now. Very interesting. Yeah, actually, this is historic. History is not being erased. History is being created. You cannot erase what was already done. And a suggestion that removing a symbol associated with glorifying what was already done is erasing history. It means you don't understand history and you have no knowledge of how to really learn of history. History is something you learn through educational institutions, through research, through museums. History is never learned from a statue or a monument, by the way. And I can say this, having won awards in the subject of history, but we won't get into that. But yes, right now what you're seeing live is history in the making, history being created. Whether you agree with it or not, this is actually historic in of itself. So there's that. Sunday night, and I told you that the statues were coming down. You heard it here first. I live streamed then, and I told you that time when I shot that video, that would be one of the last times you saw these statues standing here. And well, there you go. But yeah, you can Google the Lee Jackson Monument in Baltimore, and you get some background. It was General Lee and Stonewall Jackson. And yes, we are blocking at will some of the stupidity that we see. Some of the stupidity that we see and the trolling and just the nonsense. You can have varying opinions, that's fine. Disagreements, that's all fine. But when you just come up with just straight up stupidity, trolling, nah, no time for that. And I amend my statement. The mayor has not left. She's actually still there. They have threatened to bring guns. Well, we got bigger guns. They don't know that. So apparently some of the neo-Nazis are on their way, apparently. Apparently some of the neo-Nazis are on their way. Yeah, just like they did in Charlottesville, they showed up armed and all that. So they're going to come to Baltimore. Some of them are right in the county, of course. I'd love for them to come down there. I feel like I travel a lot, and I think, I'm going to come home and enjoy X, Y, Z. That's in my fridge or my cupboard now. Maybe someone's living in my house. That happened before, actually. No, it did. I definitely came home one day after being gone for a long time, and there was a young man in the house. He ran past me, went up to the back door, which was locked, and he was fumbling with it. And I told him, hey, listen, I said it very calmly. I said, I'm going back outside to my truck. But I'm coming back in with you don't want to see, so hurry up. Just hurry up. And from that day onward, I'll never enter the house without my tools. Well, dude was right there, and he blurred past me like a street. I'm like, huh? I was like, for a second, I was like, did I just see a human just flash past me? I mean, just for a second, you know? About neighbors, well, neighbors, they weren't the best neighbors. They thought it was like their roommate, but just I had someone living there. And apparently this guy was wearing clothes and everything. And sure enough, in my bedroom, I found his old discarded clothes and my clothes missing. So he like literally came into my house, changed into my clothes, and yeah. Hello, Baltimore. Oh no, good old Baltimore. No, my house was looted. Most of everything was gone, but the guy was living in there. Actually, yeah, twice now I've had my home completely looted in the city. Well, the last time happened while I was in custody for 6 months.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
We all are. Yes. And it's funny though, because rarely does it happen, anything happen that quickly. She said it on Monday, and here we are. Definitely will. And bring a national shift of focus. Baltimore being the need for something else. For a moment. For 24 hours. Maybe not even 24, but maybe for about, half a day, Baltimore will be talked about for something other than crime. Hey, look at that. It's raising up. It's raising up. It's off the pedestal by a few inches. And it has begun in earnest. The monument is definitely airborne. It's a few inches off the pedestal. The workers are stepping back because this thing is now freely suspended. I'm sure no one knows exactly how much it weighs. It's not all guesstimates. It was put up in 1948. But that's a pretty heavy lift crane. Those things weigh about 20 tons. They're that crane you see there. Don't ask me how I know that. And it has counterweights attached to it. It's higher, it's going up. It's not moving too quickly so they chase it away. But when it starts coming up, we're definitely occupying that grassy knoll. Heavens. Yeah, those two dead Confederate generals riding off into statue heaven. Since I don't get to write the status, we could just say, they gone. Where's my other phone? I left it. There, got it. I normally have two phones, one I broadcast with, one I write tweets with and stuff at the same time. But, rushed out there, rushed out. Didn't prepare for this. I mean, I knew it was coming. Actually, I knew a little bit more than I was authorized to let on to, but, everything was accelerated. Stand by. They have a very tight course to maneuver this thing through, but I assure you, I already see where it's going. It is much more well lit, and you will have a clear view of this. picture. You get much better shots on my phone is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. It sucks. It sucks. It's like, I always like, whenever I'm live streaming, I'm always like, man, these would be some good shots with the camera. And when I shoot it with the camera, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was live streaming. I'm always torn like that. So for some of you just tuning in, we're here in Baltimore, basically on the campus of Johns Hopkins University. The monument that was erected in 1948 to General Lee. Sure. My bad. Yeah, that's okay. I can hold it up. Reaction seeing this is it's interesting because I came here Sunday night in live stream, and I told everyone that this video you're seeing Sunday, this is probably the last time, the last time you'll see these things out there. And here we are just a few days later. I also spoke with the mayor Monday, and she said they're coming down. It's rare to see government action happen that quickly. It seems like getting the dark at night here, and quietly, is that going good? Well, yes and no. There's so many things to consider. Number one, this is actually a busy street, even though it's only 2 lanes. It's been shut down for hours. So it's easy to couch it in however way you want, but there's a lot of logistics involved too. You shut down a street in a city like Baltimore voluntarily in the middle of the daytime, it creates a whole traffic snarl. There's a lot of other things going on too. So I definitely know that there's a multitude of reasons why it was done like this. Well, yeah, that's debatable, you know. The mayor on Monday said that there are locations that have been identified. There's a procedure that has to go through to relocate them, possibly Confederate cemeteries in Maryland. But then later on that day, the resolution that was voted on said that they should be destroyed. So I don't know that a final disposition was decided yet. That will be a story in of itself to see where we go from there. I'm James MacArthur. MacArthur. Thank you, sir. All right. Going live while going live. That was a local media, and just did an interview there that you heard while seeing what I'm shooting. Of course, some of the shooting was a little off because I was looking at his camera and not mine. Yeah. So there's the flatbed truck being back into position. And that's where the beloved idol of the religion of Confederacy will go. 24,000 total views? Not bad. I mean, we're not doing this for views, we're doing it for the sake of recording history and sharing it with you. It was nice to know that people are tuned in. Probably about half of those are morons. I'm featured. Featured where? Breaking news on Periscope. Cool, thanks. Yeah, I got into live streaming 2 years ago during the Freddie Gray uprising. I mean, I've done it before here and there, but got into it real heavy then. Of course, a lot of you saw the crime scene stuff I used to do. In the live stream, though, I usually took stills and some video. And then one day, it was time to move on in life in general. And I retired from street journalism and retired as the Baltimore Spectator, which I still am retired as the Baltimore Spectator. But that doesn't mean I'm dead. Stuff being added every day, people from the mall. Yeah, it's gonna be low. The boom's gonna stay low.
Oh, I see. Some crazy fucking engineering.
I was gonna say, obviously you do have skills. You know, like.
What about the professionals?
Yeah, definitely.
Counter-weighted.
Oh yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, they were out there doing all kinds of measurements and everything. It's a process. Yeah, so there's definitely seriously expert crane work, as someone just said in the chat room there. Yank it down, but you know, do it the right way. No, the statue that you saw pulled down in Durham is a lot smaller than this. Smaller, not as solidly mounted. You weren't just going to pull this down with like some rope or some chain. That wasn't happening. And besides that, it's heavy and large. That probably props to the crane man. Props to the crane. And this is his part that he played in. I was the guy who operated the crane and pulled it down. We got injured. It's kind of difficult to be working, but. They're bringing it right in there. Okay, that's what's going on. So, yeah. So all the rest have already been taken down tonight. 24,000 viewers.
Damn, dude. This is like friend Ralph's photo.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah, Ralph's.
So there it is. As you can see, Rob took this photo. You see that there's that's the moment. Just lifted clear off the base. There you go. Cool. So you can see that's a clear shot, much clearer than my video, of the harness around it and everything. And it's being moved, so we're going to go back to that, but I want people to see it.
That aftermath.
That's on the base. That's on the base. Anyway, we're going to go back to what's happening. Thank you. Thanks so much. There it is, coming clearly in the view. The other statues are down already. They are down. We just didn't live stream it. There they go, riding off into statue heaven. No, it is unclear what's going to happen to them, folks have been asking. Yeah. What did they say? Two jackasses on a horse? Is that the statement?
Get those animals off those horses.
Get those animals off those horses. Skillful crane work. Look how straight up in the air that boom is to avoid the trees and the. notice. Oh, but you're getting overtime for it. Yeah. Scott Wyckoff. Hey, how are you, man? Good to see you.
How's it going?
Fantastic.
Let me ask you, what do you think as we stand here watching this and capturing it on video?
Well, yeah, it's unreal. It's surreal. I came here Sunday night after the protest, and I did some live streaming, and I told the viewers, I said, hey, this video you're seeing of this statue on this pedestal, this is probably one of the last times you're going to see it. And I said that Sunday. Monday, I spoke with the mayor. She said they're definitely coming down. And here we are this morning, Scott, and they're down.
Did you think you would see this as quickly?
No. The city government never moves that fast. Not that fast. But, there were a number of, we got word that there was a number of plots afoot by the people, so to speak, to take this down, and that wouldn't have probably not been safe. This was very surgical. I've been here all night watching this, and you see the statues still preserved in one piece and everything like that. So this was the only way to do it and not have it be a catastrophe, so to speak.
Very calm here. People watching like you're doing, streaming it, taking pictures, doing video, but a very calm scene.
A very calm scene. Part of that, of course, we can credit to being the time of night. Most people are still asleep. The night owls heard this was going on, saw it on social media, and they're out here. Of course, you start your shift early every day anyhow. But most people will wake up in the morning, listen to WBL and other stations, and say, oh my God, look what happened. And this will definitely be national news, of course. But yeah, it's very common to say most people are asleep.
And it's interesting, too, because there are people here both supporting the removal of the statue. There are also people here who aren't in favor of it, but it's been very calm.
Lots of it. And we're watching on the live stream. People are literally chiming in from around the country and around the world. And you're seeing both sides of it as well. It is definitely a polarizing type thing. But, the mayor, took decisive action and made a decision, hey, this is what we're going to do. We can talk about it later. We can, write, the scholarly works on it if we need to, but this is it's on. And she cited the commission report that suggested they be removed. He said, hey, this was from the last administration. They formed the commission said remove them, and they didn't. I will.
Introduce yourself.
I am James MacArthur.
And you document a lot of activities around this Baltimore area.
I used to. I retired.
But you're doing it now.
I'm doing it now. I just got back in town just a few hours ago.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scotty.
Good to see you.
Running backwards, by the way. Yes. We want to talk to him, but he's so busy, he was the guy. I mean, there's all these other workers, but that's the main dude operating that crane. But yeah, he's busy. We really wanted to talk to him.
He did a hell of a job.
Look at all the construction.
Yeah, they did tear the makeshift thing down, the
Traffic lights, everything. There's so much going on. And here they went around the stuff. You're right. I'm going the other side. Walk around this way. Okay. There we go. Mentions. Truck is stopped. No, they're chained down. No, that's their riding. They're Oh, yeah, definitely nice artwork as far as the actual quality of the sculpture and everything. And no getting around that. This was very skillfully made. And we don't begrudge art for art's sake. That's
Yeah, I had some very gorgeous pictures of it before.
yeah.
And I pointed at the 5 o'clock light, and it was just
Cool.
it's like
Wow, yeah.
it almost glows, but what it represents,
The symbology.
Yeah, it has to go. I'll be honest, it's very pretty. Maybe they should take it and maybe we should do how Germany did, and re-educate our masses. Put it in a museum and show them this is what we're fighting against now.
Wow, what somebody just said? They're being carried away in chains. A little symbolic.
Yep.
Chains. Wow.
Same chains we were carried away in.
Yeah, that's actually pretty profound.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. It was a quick comment, but chains. That's all we got here.
And now we need to carry the chains off our minds. And maybe we actually can make something happen.
Get the chains off our minds.
Yep. Because if we don't educate ourselves, we can't overcome.
Video is okay, but still they're much better.
Well, you can always dim it.
You're right, yeah. Yeah. Except in the Periscope app, it doesn't give you those functions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the only problem. So half of those
You'll see that. That's insane. I don't even think this is. I'm not sure if this is 4K or not. It might be.
The Periscope app takes away a lot of the settings functionality. It just kind of presets most of them.
Yeah, that's the quality D. So let me put it on the 60 frames per second and show you. It's actually pretty nice too. The 60 frames a second one will.
Ooh, look at that. Oh yeah, that's real nice.
This look a little more lively.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
This would be better for broadcasting and things.
Yeah. Now that's an A plus. If I just recorded it in native video and then put it on YouTube, it would be really nice. But I'm doing live on Periscope, and so I notice the quality is a bit diminished in the low light. But I wanted to get it live. It was a choice, like really good quality video or live,
Right, and this does allow you to go straight to YouTube as well. I gotta put mine back up, but I used to do it a lot. I did it with the current club shit.
Which helped me to be here now.
I'm lucky because I live right there. So I heard them banging, and I'm like, what are they doing? Is this?
Or you just heard clanging and you
I'm like, cling.
what's going on?
So I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, they're turning this heavy down, I think. So I came, being nosy, which I normally not, but
Yeah, sometimes, I was going to say, sometimes, it's necessary. Because we only get talked about when something else goes on. I mean, there was nothing going on there. The workers did what they did, the police stood around, the crowd watched.
right here, I didn't get a chance to eat this. It was very quiet.
He's gone already. You don't want to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
We'll find it later.
Yeah.
I hope so. We got
There's everything against the nigga was made,
Yeah, we got footage, so we'll find it.
Yeah.
That's right. Your bro. People, 99% of the comments are from outside the city. You don't gotta say you don't. You don't. 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's how long I've been out there. Thank you for that update. Jeez. Wow. Might be a record for me. Continuous. Okay, we see the driver walking back and
Oh, the screen protector is
videos. I scoped some, but I did more, recording on scene, lots of podcasts from the scenes, still photos, writing, that type of thing. I got into the streaming during the Freddie Gray uprising. But yeah, I did it all. I did it all. Video, audio, still. But I retired. I'm no longer. Hey, there is a police escort that will be rolling with this thing, going to an undisclosed location. And there's the driver. Double check, make sure the chains and the straps are still on good. We don't want this big thing to fall off. Our roads are bad enough, it would leave a crater. Salute to the generals. The Jackson Lee Monument. Of course, General Jackson and General Lee were removed from their pedestal. Let's go back to the pedestal, the base where they were. For those of you who want to stick around a little bit more, we might talk to some people in the crowd now before we sign off for the night. But definitely thank you for tuning in this early morning or late night, depending on how you look at it. Definitely a historic moment. And you're seeing the news before it is news, because this will be our top story in the morning. That crowd disappeared quick. Where'd everybody go? Oh, everybody's up there, okay. And I'm wearing boots, big boots. But thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been my pleasure to bring you this moment. I feel honored and privileged that I was fortunate enough to be in town when this happened. I'm not in Baltimore much anymore. And as a matter of fact, I'd only been back a few hours. Now just bear with me. We're going to come up to the pedestal where this was. I was following the truck, so, we're a little ways. It's nice and dark here, and I didn't bring my light. No light with me. No lights, no lights. I did it from watching it. Well, I thought they named this vacation off the last one. They named it I got one. So we're here at the base. Well, how heavy is it? It's pretty heavy. Yeah, but she's also a sophomore. Oh, that's true. Oh, no, this wouldn't be a good time. Under the weight, we got up from the bottom, and it would start to crumble. Yeah, all the rain got it, huh? Definitely needs. Yeah, this I wouldn't want to see. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see it start crumbling, The original video, just to get up here, is like mad people, and it wasn't wet. Of course it is. And when you never see it that fast again, you'll never see a decision made by city government followed by action this quickly. This is not like a new era being ushered in. It ain't happening that way. On the other hand, they started it really after Charleston. And so on the one hand, it's taken, I should say when the decision was actually made. I mean, the discussion, the talk, the commission, it really was a lengthy process, to be honest. But once, the final word, they're coming down. She looked me right in the eye on Monday. She said, they're coming down. Oh, okay. We'll see. This should have gone up in the first place. Well, no, it shouldn't have gone up. It was 1948. It was a very different Baltimore in 1948. Good, good. So yeah, the statue's gone. I wonder what the long-term plan for the base is.
What I was thinking about that was,
Now you can put up your contextual plaques and whatever.
the Taney, when they pulled down the too. I saw it after I didn't know that it was coming down because it was already down. But I went over and looked at it afterwards, and they pulled down the plaque, but they have the new contextual plaque.
Oh, there's a new one.
Yeah,
Okay.
and not on the base.
But yeah, that's it. You can now put it right there, I think, you know.
And it actually has the words white supremacy in it. It's
Wow. Yeah, what's that look like up there? We've never seen this has never been seen since 1948. This patch of granite. That's a moss and 1948 moss.
It's a little wet on this side. It's probably easy to get up right there.
Well, it would be nice to get a group picture of all of us standing on top of this. You down, Giordano?
I'll take it.
You'll take it? All right, let's go up in the. Oh boy, be careful.
Everybody hops up for a victory.
But be careful getting up. It's slippery and a big dude like me, I don't even know how I'm getting up there. I just came up with this idea and now it's sounding stupid. Okay, hold on. I gotta put this phone in my pocket, guys, to get up there.